Welcome back to Two Douchey Guys,
Two.
DG, with another beer review for you and for us. We've never had this.
It's true.
This is one of our Western swings. This is a Wisconsin beer, New Glarus, or Glarus, or however they say it, but Wisconsin's unofficial beer manufacturer, right? Brewery?
Yeah, unofficial. Miller kind of still holds that, but
I think. Anyway, what we got today is...
we have Moon Man.
Moon Man!
Which is a pale ale. They're labeling it the No Coast.
No Coast Pale Ale.
It says that it's brewed with 5 different kinds of hops. No information about what those are, at least according to Rate Beer. Rate Beer also gives this one really high reviews. I'm not going to say it's surprising necessarily just because it's from them, but because I really haven't heard of... I mean, I've heard of it, but not in the upper echelon of
Also because
style.
they classify it themselves as a session.
That's true.
So, I mean, it is a little surprising that
The
session can rate that.
the best session pale or IPA that I've had is Go-To from Stone. So it'd be interesting to see how this one really measures up.
All right, let's crack it open. We'll give it a pour. See what we get. That is what I would call golden. Alright. And if you take a look, crystal clear.
I will say, though, that while it is clear, it has that mostly straw color of what you would consider like maybe a wheat, or maybe, I'm not going to say it's macro color. But it's lighter than I thought it was going to be.
It is light.
I will say I did get a little hint of the aroma as I was pouring it. Not enough to really justify it, but was kind of surprising, even for just a pale.
The head dissipates really quickly.
Yeah.
It was pretty thin.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a pretty good lace, though. I mean, I would say as far as it really falls off the edge quick, but it really clings too. So I mean, it might be a little bit more malty than I expected, given the color. So let's give it a sniff.
I get tons of grapefruit in this one. Which grapefruit? It's generally a generic term that you might use, like if you call something citrusy. But I do get a lot of grapefruit in this. Tad bit of lemon.
I would say it's a subtle grapefruit, though.
No, it
it's like
is.
A pink grapefruit, where it's not as aromatic, but it is there.
Yeah, so it's not going to punch you in the face like a West Coast IPA with a grapefruit and piney note. But this one, it's very subtle. It's there. You can tell it's there. I do get the lemon in there as well. And you just get like a typical, like, kind of generic sweetness to it. So I'm wondering how balanced this one's going to be.
I'm going to go with some low alpha hops, too. I get a lot of the earthy, grassy notes of like, you know, some of the nobles.
Yes. You definitely get the grassy nature to it. Taste it?
Sure, this smells pretty good. You want to say it?
The taste at the front, you get a little pop of bitterness. It's not a lot.
A hint of grapefruit.
So you do get the grapefruit, and it kind of runs all the way through. You do get more of the lemongrass characteristic that kind of sticks through all the way as well. It kind of masks the grapefruit, except for at the very beginning. Body-wise, it's thinner than I would have thought it was.
Given the clean
here. Given mostly the smell. I'd be hard-pressed to say they didn't use Citra in there, just because of the grassy, lemony kind of characteristic to it.
It does taste like there's a higher alpha acid in there somewhere too, floating around. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't a Citra or something real close to that.
You do get a lot of the grassy nature in there, though.
That's why I wonder if there's a lot of the nobles that are used for, you know, the bittering. Hops are probably...
To say noble, what he means by noble, if you're new to craft beer, is noble hops are the traditional German hops. they're characterized mostly as being like a tamer, grassier type of flavor.
Used for bittering, not necessarily
bittering purposes,
for
but again,
aroma.
German beers weren't necessarily that bitter. They traditionally focus more on lager, so it would be like your Saz or your Tettnang.
Yeah.
Those would be considered noble hops.
And if you've ever tasted one, it's a grassy.
I will say though that this doesn't have the German feel to it.
No, it's
for having noble hops. Again, this is all speculation. We don't really know. It is a session. You can tell. I think even from just the taste, you don't get a lot of the alcohol body. Generally, when you have a pale, it's anywhere from about 5 to 5.5 to upper scale, which we can thank Three Floyds for by putting American in front of pale ale, anywhere from like 7%. So it's a decent range. This one is on the lower scale. What was it? 4.5, 4.7.
To be honest, I don't
like
remember. But to describe the the mouthfeel, it's thin, it's highly carbonated, and it goes down with no real fanfare. I'm sorry, but maybe we should get to the rating because I'm about to.
Yeah, let's go to rating based on style, which is just a regular pale ale. It's not American.
Right, and that's
So-
I've got to differentiate.
Yeah.
But if I were to rate this based on style and the fact that they tout it as a session, I'm gonna give it a 6. I really am. Go ahead.
Before I get to that, when you throw out American for a term for beer, whether it be like an American Pale or American IPA or an American Imperial Stout, all that means is you get more hop forwardness and generally a bit more of the alcohol in the scale of the style. So that's all that means, just higher hop flavor and higher alcohol. This one isn't any of those. It is a session, which is kind of its own category, but we're going to stick with just regular pale ale. Now, Rate Beer, I think, gave this one a 97 overall for style. I'm not going to say it's a 6 because if I'm having a session beer, generally session beer you'd kind of associate with the macro lagers like Miller Lite, Bud Light, anything like that, because it is in the 4 to 4.5 range. Now, if you give me this one, obviously you're going to pick this one over.
That is a good point.
My rating for style session pale ale, I'm gonna give this one. I'll give this one an 8. It's gonna be one that I'm going to go to if I have a session. It's like you want to go to a lake all day. You want to drink a beer that has flavor that you can actually sit through and drink all day and still remember what you did that day. This one is up there because obviously, like we said earlier, the forefront of the movement would be Stone Go-To. It's got so much flavor to it, so much hop, but it's only like 4.7. I may be wrong. This one's in the alcohol range. The hops are obviously more subdued, but I feel that the balance is better with it. And like you said, you get hops, but it's also not just fruity, not just grassy, but it really molds together for me and really complements the malt base, which isn't significant, but it's there, you can tell. I'll give it an 8 for the style.
I gotta commend you. I guess I'm having some prejudices here, but I mean, I feel bad giving it a 6, but I just
maybe break into why you're giving it a 6.
I'm just not flattered by it.
Well, in depth.
I think it's lacking. I think, okay, session ale, but I still think you could have had more flavor. I still think you could have had more hop characteristic. I mean, that's what I like. To that I may
point,
not
though,
be the target market for this.
A pale ale is supposed to have some hops. It's not going to be an American
and again,
pale.
that's my bias.
Yeah,
so.
and that's fine.
It's a fine beer, though. I mean, I like the way it tastes overall.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to, like I said, I hate to give it such a low rating, but okay, fine. Overall rating. Overall, I'll give it a 7.5, and I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give it higher because it's an enjoyable beer, and it's something like you said you could drink all day long and be fine with it, but I just don't think it has the complexity to keep me interested all day long. I really don't know. Boy, I don't know if I can go 7.5. I'm going to make it a 7 at best.
I see.
I just don't think it would keep my interest.
The overall category is harder than style. For this style right here, a regular pale, your top contender would be like a classic Sierra Nevada. That one's going to be what you really describe everything else and compare it to. Going into the overall for this one, I'm going to drop it down. I'll give it a 6.5 because it's not the regular pales other than like Sierra Nevada. I'm not going to go for because I want the Americanized version. I want what we have adopted the style into. There's ratings on beers that we've given a 7. This one doesn't compare to that one. It's not as good. That's why overall is so much harder.
It is
for what you use it for. Drinking all day, go to the lake, have fun, still remember everything, turn your friends on to a different style possibly.
No, and I have to admit, I think this, if you have a friend that's not an ale drinker,
yeah,
this is probably a good introduction because it is light. It's just,
and again,
not overwhelming.
Ale means top fermenting at a warmer temperature. Lager, which is what
the big macros.
Yeah, the big
most
ones.
of your bar beers tend to be.
They're lagers, which is colder fermentation from the bottom. That's all the differentiation is. It is a good maybe stepping stone beer, which I think is what a lot of New Glarus's is, with Spotted Cow being one of them that we reviewed previously.
And I want to say, if you haven't seen the Spotted Cow review, go back, check it out, because I'm not a New Glarus hater. I actually enjoyed that tremendously and wish I had more.
So again, overall, he gave it a 7 tops. He'll go with a 7.
Yeah.
He gave it a 6.5. But yeah, not a bad beer whatsoever.
No, it is a good balanced beer, and it's just not my style. It's not in my style category, my high overall. I'm not going to pick it every time. I'm not going to pick it often.
All right. Bit of a disagreement, but
if I could, I wouldn't pick it that often.
Yeah.
Now, I do think this is one that could easily slip into a bar. You know, your average bar that's serving the big 3 macro breweries, this could slide in and easily make converts that might seek more out.
In Wisconsin, New Glarus wants to be the beer of Wisconsin, which, great. That's awesome for the state. And Spotted Cow was their flagship because it's a cream ale, so basically it has a lot of the lager taste, but it's fermented with ale yeast.
And it had fantastic esters of fruits and
this one, I believe, is their second, we'll call it second in command for lack of a better term, from their flagship. And yeah, like you said, I can see it sneaking in because of the subtlety, but the flavors are still there.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Coming up, though, we do have another New Glarus. We have Totally Naked in the future, so there's still hope.
2DG.